talk shows, Find Your Own Voice, and Lead from Within. With me today, I have Angie Simmons. Angie, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi guys, I'm Angie Simmons. I'm a single mum from a mining town called Mansfield. I can't even get my teeth in this afternoon. I'm a personal development and mental wellness mentor. So I work with people that are mission driven. You know, they like goals, they like to achieve things, but they find themselves stuck. They're not quite sure how to move forward. So if that's you, I'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you, Namsa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so, our topic today is how to celebrate daily achievement and move through daily disappointment, fear, and regrets. So, Angie, you chose this topic, and I basically would like you to explain to the audience the topic and why are you so passionate about it. When someone choose the topic, I always basically know that there is a story behind, like basically is what you do, how people achieve their goals and stuff. But do we actually celebrate those achievements, or do we want more? So could you please explain the topic to our audience?
Fantastic. Thank you, my love. Yes, it is something very passionate about. Not always been that way. So I want to take you back 8 years ago. This was when I was working full time as a kennel manager, and I was working, well, I'd got my own little dog grooming business at home. Now, that dog grooming business was a bit of extra cash. And that is because I couldn't see myself as being a business owner. I couldn't see myself getting out the rat race. I couldn't see myself achieving any goals. And it was then when I was introduced to personal development, which is something I'm massively into, because it has actually changed my life. Because, as I said, 8 years ago, not only were I didn't have any time for me, I didn't have any time for my daughter, but all my family, all my friends. But I was really struggling with depression and anxiety, and I was popping the pills like Smarties, and that's because I didn't know any better. So I was introduced to personal development, and I started hearing about goals and achieving this sort of stuff and doing this. And I kept looking at all these people and thinking, I can never, ever do that. Um, I never, to me, it was like an absolute mountain that I could never get to the summit. So on this, I call it my path of self-discovery, but also my path of recovery, because now I don't take the tablets. I look after my own mental and emotional well-being by doing the inner work on a daily basis. And trust me, it works. When I don't do the work, it doesn't work. And I still have my dips. And that's absolutely okay, because we're feeling beings, we're not actually robots. But one of the things that I heard at a seminar quite a long time ago, when some people on the call or watching this on replay will have heard of SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and and timely, which was great. Then I heard the SMARTer goal, which is an extra E and an R. And I was like, what's that about? And that stands for evaluation. And basically, what's the word I'm looking for now? It's gone somewhere. It'll come in a minute. It's about looking at the goals, evaluating where you're going, and then giving yourself something. So reward. There you go. There's the word. I knew it'd come back to me eventually. I love it when a word just decides to do one in the ether. So yeah, it's about evaluating and rewarding. Because if something like that mountain I mentioned earlier, climbing that mountain just feels so far away. But if you think about having steps up the mountain, incremental steps, which is, your incremental steps towards your goal, if you then get to one step and then you have, right, okay, I'm going to evaluate how long it took me to get up there. What do I need next? What might I need next time? This, that, and have a look at how things are going, and then reward yourself. So then when it comes to the next step, you're like, right, okay, I'm a bit more savvy about what I need to do, how many steps I need to do to get to the next step, etc., etc. But also, you know, there's going to be a reward. So it helps you achieve that big goal easier. But what most people don't do is look at their daily achievements. It's one of the things that I started doing, and it's one of the things that's in my awesome journal, is basically looking at your day before you go to bed, looking at what you've achieved, what have you done to move you forward, and celebrating it. Which this, you know, when you're doing this, it enables you to get rid of the disappointments that you've had for the day. Because most people, they go to bed and their day's been absolute. I'm trying not to swear because, yeah, like I say, sometimes I get a bit passionate about what I'm talking about. You know, you go to bed and you're thinking this day is absolutely pants, nothing's worked, blah, 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 blah. And it can be just one thing that's actually derailed you, just one thing. But you might have actually done about 5 or 6 really good things, but you're forgetting those because you're focusing on that one thing. So when you look at your achievements at the end of the night, you get to celebrate them, look at them. And what that actually does is you're looking at your daily, excuse me, excuse me. What you're doing is you're looking at those achievements that have enabled you to get to where you are. Because nothing happens. If you want to get to the top of that mountain, you're not going to be able to do it without those steps. But those small daily steps, for some reason, get hidden. But it's those small daily steps that help you achieve what you want to achieve. So by doing that task, looking at your achievements for the day, it helps you get rid of that daily disappointment, get rid of the fear that the fact that you're not actually going anywhere, and also regret. Because that's one of the biggest things that we all carry around on our shoulders is regret. What is the point in regretting something that's already passed? It's already gone. So get rid of it, take it off. Because if you're carrying all that regret, all that fear, all that disappointment on your shoulders, it's just going to weigh yourself down. And nobody can get to that mountain if you've got a great big backpack that's full of massive big boulders, if that makes sense. So that's one of the things that I've been doing, and I've been doing it since I designed my journal. And it's enabled me to achieve so much. You know, it enabled me to become self-employed, to get rid of the boss, and that small little dog grooming business that was earning me a couple of £100 a month is now my full-time business. But I work part-time at it compared to what I used to do on my job, if that makes sense. You know, I've been able to become an author. I've been on stages talking to people. I've done international talks, an award finalist, you know, now a personal development and mental wellness mentor. And it's mind-boggling when I look at how I've changed my life in just 8 short years. And I'll be honest, if I'd have started doing this task maybe 6 years ago, it wouldn't have took me 8 years to get to where I've got to. It could have been potentially 5 years. So that one small task that I do at the end of the night is so important and so powerful. You see, when I talk to people about journaling, they're like, oh, yeah, journaling in the morning. Yes, I do journal in the morning. Every single morning, as soon as I get up, I ask myself, how am I feeling today? Which is what my journal's called. Because most of us don't actually ask ourselves, how am I feeling today? We try and get rid of the feelings, but it's the feelings that actually enable us to move forward, because nobody wants to do anything if they're feeling like that. If that makes sense. Nobody wants to take the action. But it's those, like I say, those small daily steps that will enable you to move forward and achieve whatever you want in life. So it's very, very, very powerful. Journal in the morning, but before you go to bed, because this stops this ruminating, stops it going over and over and over and over again about all the disappointment, all the fear, and all the regret. Because unfortunately, us human beings focus on the negative instead of the positive that's around us. So you focus on the positives and watch things change.
Yeah, that is so true. I agree with you, Angie. Basically, journaling is very, very important. And sometimes, like what you're saying, that we intend to not to evaluate the things that we do and reward ourselves. We intend to look at the things that went wrong, and instead of looking at our daily achievement, like small things like getting out of bed and having the courage to have a shower and drop the kids to school, or maybe even um, dropping the kids to school, and then going to work, and then having that courage to actually make phone calls and deal with the clients, and having to achieve those results. It might be, sometimes it might be the bad results, it might be good results, that you resolve problems with clients, or you help clients achieve the things that they want to achieve. We don't really celebrate those kind of things. We want the big ones, like money. Is there any money in the bank account and stuff? But what we don't realize is, before we can celebrate, before we get the bigger things, we have to acknowledge the small ones, small achievement. And also, you talk about the mountain, that in order for us to climb that mountain, because sometimes, hi Peter, Peter was saying hello.
Oh, I've just seen Peter as well. Hi, Peter.
Yes, in order for us to actually climb that mountain, we have to, once you celebrate the small things, the fear of climbing that mountains goes away. Because if we don't see our achievement, there is no way that we can climb that mountain in front of us and see what's behind the veil, behind that mountain. So it is very, very important. I agree with you that we have to celebrate the things that we achieve, and the things that, basically, I was listening to the, what's her name, the woman, you are with Tony Robbins, watching Tony Robbins live.
Oh, which woman? Oh my God, it's an I tell you that, and that's free as well. And most people are not jumping on it, and it's free.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the one that came last, for the first one, if the first live, the one that came last, what's the name? The photographer.
Hold on a second. I might have wrote your name down. Just give me a second. I'll have a look. No, it's not. That was yesterday. Alex, wasn't it? Dean was on. No, have I not wrote it down? Name down. I haven't, unfortunately. Or was it Jenna Kutcher? Was it Jenna Kutcher?
Yes. Yeah, the photographer. Yes, and she was saying that she basically, she basically stopped hiding who she was.
Yeah.
And then she started basically talking to people what she wanted to become and stuff. And she realized, actually, people were, there are some, there's a girl that was actually thinking, doing the same thing in secret that she was doing. They ended up motivating each other in things like that, and she started celebrating her goals and her achievement. And she was okay hanging out, and she even said, I'm okay hanging out with Tony Robbins and Dean.
Yeah.
They have 50 companies and I have one, and I'm okay having that one company. And people don't celebrate that. They look at themselves and they're like, but I only have this, but these ones, they are big. So I always like ask people when they ask me questions, and you see that people are talking themselves down. So I'm like, but why are you talking yourself down? Because you have all these achievements that you have achieved. And even being a mom, sometimes there are some people who leave work, basically decide, I'm going to raise my children like from the primary school, and then when they go to secondary school, I go back to work. When you ask somebody, what do you do for work? And they're like, I'm just a mom. I'm like, you're just a mom? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We don't celebrate the screams of the children dealing with the screams,
pulling the hair out,
and just pulling through the day. You don't celebrate all that, because being a parent is a skill. basically
Yes.
it's a skill that you can't take away from somebody, and that those skills you can use them basically some other places. So like,
Everywhere.
yeah, some people don't acknowledge it, their achievement. I'm like, wow, okay. Because
Yeah.
being a mom is like you're being a manager, you're managing home. It's like here when I come home, I'm working. Sometimes I work, I go to the office in the morning, and then at 12, I come and work from home because of the kids. And when their dad comes home, he goes, what's been happening in the house? So I have to explain what the kids did, what we did, and what we didn't do. We maybe been lazy, just working. And it's just shows that I'm there, I'm working, but at the same time, I'm managing the kids.
Mm.
Sometimes I might make it with stress, or sometimes some people don't. So,
Yeah.
so I
Kids don't,
100%
unfortunately.
agree with you that we have to acknowledge our small achievement in order for us to climb that mountain in front of us.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, children don't come with a manual.
Now,
So being a parent, I find, honestly, being a parent is probably one of the hardest jobs you can
yeah,
have.
it is. It is
Because,
one of the hardest, honestly.
you're not only, the caregiver, but you've got to provide for them food and everything else, but you've got to cope with their emotional roller coasters and outbursts without losing your own, calmness, as I say. Now I have to just go and walk off. My daughter's nearly 18, but she still have her outbursts. Obviously, her emotions and hormones are still going all over the place. So
Yeah,
now I've learned, just walk away, speak later. It's fine. She doesn't mean it. But I think as parents, we can take those outbursts really personal. Well, I know I did. I used to tell myself that I was a useless mom, all that sort of stuff, because I took it on board when she was when she was having a moment, that it was my fault that she was doing that, when it's not really. But I honestly, any parent out there that's listening, I take my hat off to you, especially
yeah.
if you've got several children. I've got one, and that's been enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I've got two. My daughter yesterday, she comes home, she goes, Mommy, how do you feel if I have two pieces of earrings, if I go and piece and make another one? So I was like, where did you get this idea? She goes, my friend is got two. And then I was like, why don't you let your friend celebrate her style instead of you guys wanting to copy her? And she goes, Mommy, that is so mean. I'm like, yeah, she's chosen her style. So just let her celebrate it, let her enjoy it. And instead of wanting to do it as well. And she was like, wow, Mommy, that is. I was like, yeah, I'm telling it as it is. So just let her celebrate it. Maybe have a think about it. I was like, sometimes you have to let it, like being a child, you have to let yourself being a child. And I was like, you see the celebrities, people look at the celebrities, their pictures, and then they copy them. Then I was like, these celebrities, they sit down with their designers, with they have a team around them. They sit down, they create their own character, and then they take time and they're like, this is who I want, this is what I want to dress, this is what I want to do. And then I'm like, and then you see their magazine, and now they've done all the work. You see their pictures on a magazine and they're looking good. You're like, I'm gonna go and look like that. I'm like, that's not, it does not make sense. So I said to her, you have to look at someone's style and celebrate it, and then go and create your own style that you like. I was like, everyone is unique. So I was teaching my daughter that everyone is unique, everyone has their own style that they love to do. And she was like, I was like, yeah, she didn't agree, but I said, yes. I said to her, I used to do that. I look at someone and then I'll go and buy the same thing. But then I realized actually I didn't like that style. So I was like, it's very, very important to look at someone's style and just look at the thoughts that went behind that style, what they went through. And then create your own. Maybe it might be similar, and create your own style. And then that is an achievement when you do that. So she was like, you make sense. So I know, like in the UK, they say when you're drinking beer, you have to drink with the children. So we were discussing, like, you have to introduce the children to alcohol, like they can drink a little bit instead of going outside and start drinking. So I said,
All right, get you.
yeah. So I was talking to my daughter. I said, if I do that myself, what if when you're older, you don't want to drink, but I'm giving you a choice to actually get into alcohol, but maybe when you're 16, you're going to decide drink is not your thing. So I said to her, as a mother, because she'll be 16 in November. So I said to her, the reason why I've not introduced you into alcohol is because I don't drink, and I don't want to take that choice away from you of whether maybe you're going to be a drinker, you're not going to be a drinker, and then I'm taking that choice away. So for me, I like you to be the one that says, Mommy, I'm going to try alcohol. And then I know in that way it's not my choice. I didn't take that choice away from you. Or if you say, I don't like alcohol, and it has to be your choice, not
Yep.
me saying, okay, just because I'm gonna. And I said to her, my parents, they drink, but they've never introduced me to alcohol, and they've never said don't drink. There was never no, there was never do it. It was a choice. When I became older, I tested it and I was like, everyone says alcohol is fine, but I don't get the taste. It does not taste nice. So I was like, no, it's not my thing. No, thank you. So we were talking about it. Those were the achievement for me as a parent. And we're talking about it. And she goes, Mommy, you're so mean. And her dad says, when that day comes, you want to test the alcohol, make sure it's not mine. So I was like,
Love it. Yeah, you
yeah,
drink alcohol, just not
yeah,
wine. And you know what? That is a good thing, because my daughter, I did the same. When I
yeah,
was younger, my mum said to me, you know, this is what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Lots of kids go on the local field and da, da, da. And you do, because, you know, you're sort of like with the Indian crowd, and there was loads of my friends drinking and smoking and stuff like that. Now, I did have a couple of drinks. I didn't
yeah,
really smoke. I didn't smoke until I started working. So I
yeah,
wasn't, as you know, a child who smoked, but I'd go on the field and drink and stuff. And my mum said to me once, if you ever want to do it at home, please feel free to do so, because then
yeah,
at least I'm with you. Because what happens sometimes is children go out and they've not had a drink before, and they get absolutely blottoed. They don't know what
yeah,
they're doing, and they're not looked after. So I did exactly the same thing with my daughter, and
yeah,
I did the same. And I remember we went to a family do, and I think she was about 16 actually. And I said to her, do you want to have a drink? If you know, because my aunties and stuff, I'd asked her, and she was looking at me. I says, if you want a drink, that's fine. I'm driving home, so I'm here to look after you. Well, it was a good job, because she had a couple of too many. And it was
yeah,
really, really funny, because she'd gone through the emotional side, then she was laughing, then she was emotional, then she was laughing. And you know, to be there for her and experience that. And then the next morning she's like, oh, and I was like, welcome to the hangovers. And she's learned from that experience at a young age. Nah, she does have a drink every now and again, but she doesn't get to that point. Because it was really funny, because she got in the house and she literally just went poof on the
yeah,
floor, and she was just splayed out. You know, she didn't hurt herself. And I took a photo of her. So the next morning I went, do you remember that? And she was like, oh no. And this is why I said it's okay at home, because you're with somebody that's going to look after you. If that happens when you're out and your friends are too drunk and they don't even notice you're in that state, you don't know what can happen.
yeah,
So it's about you understanding the effects of alcohol and how it affects you, and the fact that sometimes you can have too much and you are not in control of what your
yeah,
body's doing. So it's a very important thing to do that. And like you, I celebrate that I was able to hold that space for my daughter,
yeah,
which is something, as I say, we don't celebrate those daily things that we do that not only enable us to move forward, but our children and our families. And it's just incredible. Like you mentioned earlier about getting out of bed and things like that. I didn't want to get out of bed 8.5 years ago. If I could have just shut the curtains, shut the door and turned everything off and stayed in bed, I would have done it. So when I first started my my daily celebration routine, habit. Yeah. Habit. Yeah. I want to call it a habit because we've got the negative habits. We've got the positive habits, and celebrating my daily wins is one of the positive habits that I put in place. And just being able to say, oh my God, I actually got out of bed today. I actually got out of bed on time, because we all like that snooze button sometimes. And but unfortunately, what happens with that is we then get into sleep inertia, which lasts over 4 hours, and then you can't be bothered to do anything for most of the day. But just looking at that and saying, right, I got out of bed, I actually did a load of washing, I've actually done a social media post today, I've actually done blah, blah, blah. And being able to write that down before going to bed is just being like, wow, even though you felt like this all day, you've still done these small things, which, you know, most people don't realize those small things compound. It's, you know, the compound effect. If you, you know, we've got to where we've got to because of the habits that we've chose through life, whether that be negative or positive. You know, it's those daily steps that's enabled us to get to where we have. You know, we didn't just build a house and go, right, I want a house. It was one brick at a time. And then that's why I celebrate, because that one brick at a time, that one step at a time builds the foundations, the strong foundations for you to build a better life, if you choose to. So that's the reason why I do it. I don't know. Have you ever read that book or listened, The Compound Effect?
I've never read it. What is it called?
Ooh. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Strongly advise it. It's absolutely incredible. And it was when I got into my, I've actually doing a post before I came on this call. And it was, you know, when I was listening to that, when I was doing that, I was remembering that I was given a CD to put into my car when I first started my path of self-discovery and recovery. Now, that sliding doors moment of me putting that CD in my CD player has compounded into who I am today. Because I could have took that CD and tossed it and gone, what the hell is this? Because I'd never listened to any of that stuff. You know, people are rah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. Yes, some of it is very rah, rah. Some of it's like, go, let's go, let's go. You know, and you're like, wow, calm down, slow down. Oh, wow, you're too loud. But that passion that they have, and they have that passion for a reason. It's intoxicating. Like we were saying last night about the Tony Robbins, and people are jumping up and down on the seats at home. It's intoxicating.
But I was watching it. It was so fun. I was like, oh my God. But the content is so amazing.
It is. It's absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's so amazing. And anyone that is watching, if you're not watching Tony Robbins and Dean Live, and please do. Please,
it's a free event.
Yeah. It's actually, it gave me yesterday some food for thoughts, because I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And like I say, that CD that I was given, that sliding doors moment, it was that CD that I first heard Darren Hardy speak. And I was like, who is this guy? Because sometimes especially when I first started, now I can get rid of the voice, if I'm honest. Sometimes if somebody's got one of those grindy voices or talks about something that I really don't, you know, something that I don't like, but they might bring in a golden nugget. So I'm able to get rid of the voice and stuff like that now. But it was when I heard Darren Hardy and I just went, I like his voice. I like who he is. The stuff that he's talking about, I need to learn more. So I got the book, I got the CD, and I listened continuously. You know, it's the repetition of learning. That's when you get the skills. If you constantly listen to the same thing, it gets in our brain. And then I bought the book, and I've read the book I don't know how many times. And every time I read that book, because what I do is it goes against the grain. I know it goes against the grain. And I know some people have gone, you do what? How dare you? Why I've booked, it's not shelf help, as Jim Rohn talks, it's self-help. So my books are there to be used. They're not there to collect dust. They're not there to look all pretty. So I've got a highlighter. And if something jumps out at me, I highlight it. And it's highlighted because it's resonated with me, or it's given me some sort of insight. And then all them go into a plain book. So I can read 5 or 6 books and all my insight, all my insights, my top takeaways go in that one book, which would be, when it's finished, that will be a power of knowledge for my daughter later on. And most people will pick up a book and read it once. I highly recommend to anybody, pick up that book and read it and read it and read it and read it again until it's ingrained in what they're saying, because the knowledge is there. As I heard the other day, you know, this is a world of information, technology, all the answers are out there. But unfortunately, we're looking at the wrong things to get the answers that we need. If that makes sense. Yeah.
It does make sense. I was reading my diary, the diary that I wrote 2012. I was laughing my head off yesterday with my daughter, because there were some things where I'll get up in the morning and write, and then she will come in and write her own stuff, whatever she wants to write. And we're reading it yesterday, and I was like, this is hilarious.
Absolutely, yeah. Reflection. It's
doing the reflection, and I was like, this is hilarious. So it's like, oh my goodness. It's kind of, it's so funny when you actually do things. It's like I'm repeating things all the time, over and over. But when I'm reading it, it's like, it's so funny. It has created my character, because like I'm writing my character, who I want to become. It is so funny. And when I'm writing it, like when you're talking about when you read a book, you don't just read a book, you read a book and then you read it again and then you implement. That's what I do as well. Me, when I go to a business event, I always have my phone. Like when they are speaking, if there's information that I need, I put my phone is closed, but it's like this, I'm recording. When I get home,
then you take notes.
Yeah, I just sit down, or sometimes I put them on Facebook, like private. I put them on Facebook, and then private, they can only be seen by me or accessed by me in case anything happens to my phone or happens to cloud or whatever. So I know it's on cloud, and then it takes my space, but then I put on Facebook. And whenever I need to go back, it's like I've built social media myself just by going to
I didn't understand that.
I did not speak to you.
Love your phone.
That is Google. And there's so many things I've built in my company, like Google Map and stuff, and so many things just by going to listen to someone, they speak like valuable information, and then I just come in and I put the video there, and then I basically optimize things, and I do things, and I put things into practice, whatever I've learned. I don't just go to a business event. Basically, I go to a business event because I'm desperate for that information, and I just implement, like Tony Robbins yesterday, whatever the homework that he gave us, I've got it here. So I'm gonna do it, basically.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's the action. Nothing happens without action.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna celebrate it. Even if I have a bad day, I'll still celebrate it, because it's very, very important to celebrate your small achievement. Because if you don't celebrate it, you just celebrate the big ones, and you're not gonna grow. So we grow by acknowledging where we've been. And when we acknowledge where we've been, and then we are able to actually to grow, we are able to, instead of looking at the disappointment as disappointment. I was disappointed by something the other day. I don't know what I was doing. And I happened to be listening to one of the pastors, and he goes, how many people die every minute? So I was like, he's making a point. I shouldn't be disappointed. I should be celebrating that I'm breathing. Yep. I should be celebrating. And then I had to go on Google, and then I was like, that is so many, and I'm not aware of that. Yes, you can ask something, Soni Kuma. You can ask something. What would you like to ask? Yeah, so it's very, very important to actually celebrate something. It's like we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows, and when we finish, that's another job complete. And
absolutely,
but if we finish and then if something happens, we forget all about what we've just done, the good things we've done, and we focus on the negative, we focus on the fear of moving forward. The fear will always be there. I don't know, have you ever had a time where you want to make a decision, Angie, and then in the fear goes, no, I don't think so. No, you are not enough.
I've lost count. I have lost count. You know, when I look at my path of self-discovery recovery, the amount of things that I went, oh, I should do this. Oh, I could. I have been setting up a YouTube channel for about 3 years. I've still not done it. I will do it.
Have you haven't got a YouTube channel?
But I don't think so.
Really? Why?
No.
Tell me why.
It's one of those things that gets pushed back to the wayside. You know, you're sort of like, you're doing this, you're doing, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. It's one of those things. And guess what? It's one of those things that need sorting because it's there, look, to remind me. It's there to remember. But, oh, my days, I have stopped myself more times than I can think of. And it is that fear of failure, fear of success, which when I came across that one, I was like, wow, because most of us are told, shh, don't want to be heard, don't be big-headed, don't boast, don't be this, don't be that, don't be the other. So we then condition ourselves not to talk about our, what we want to achieve, but we then get worried when we start getting seen. And that's what happened to me several times over. When I started getting seen and noticed on social media, I recoiled because it was like, oh, I don't like this. Whereas now, 3 years later, I love it not because of me, not because of seeing myself or hearing myself. It's because I know that I have got a message to share and I impact and help people. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, basically take me out of the equation because it's not about me. It's about the people that I help and serve. So yeah, the amount of time I've lost count of the stuff that, I didn't, to be honest, the journal nearly didn't happen. And I got a fantastic coach at the time, Claire Cahill. In fact, actually, Claire's became a very good friend of mine. And it was her that turned around and said, why don't you design your own? And I was like, me? This is little old Ange, single mum in a mining town. Who do you think you are? That imposter syndrome jumped in. And it was like, no, I can't do that. I can't. And it was like, well, actually, from all the stuff that I heard, stop saying you can't. How can you? And that's when these daily steps started coming in. When I thought, right, I'm looking at this mountain. It's huge. I've got to do all this stuff. Don't look at the top of the mountain. Just look at the next step that you've got to do. And then that mountain, you've climbed it already before you've even thought about it. And so, yeah, but I have lots of stuff. I just want to share something with you, Namsa, when we were talking about reflection and the fact that we talked about the Tony Robbins thing.
Yeah.
This is, and sometimes we don't see things that's right in front of our eyes. Now, I've got obviously my PC and my screen that I'm staring at right now, and I've got a few things behind it, reminder to me. Now, this one on the left-hand side is a reminder to me of, oh, sorry, no phone. Sorry, my phone for a change. So this is a reminder. The reason why I put it there was a reminder for me from my daughter to keep pushing, to keep going. Now, my daughter at the time was now, I think she was 8, I believe. Let me think about it. She will be 18, and that will be 9 years. So she was, 11. And she drew me this. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Now look at the bottom. Oh.
I can't see it.
Let me camera focusing on. It's not going to do it.
What's the writing?
It's got because it's got the blurred stuff, my thingy, it keeps going on that. So what it says is, I is the one who helps you see through the darkness. Make your way to the top. Look to the future, not the past. And then at the bottom, she drew the bridge that Dean Graziosi talks about. Where are you now? Where do you want to go to?
Really?
and then a leap of faith. See if I can show it. See it?
Oh yeah, yes.
And it just hit me, not last night before on Tony Robbins, and I just saw it and I went, oh my God, that was 8 years ago, and my daughter drew that.
Yeah.
And I was listening to him talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, because
Been in front of me all these years.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having that, it was just about going back to the reflection of things. It's there, but I'm not seeing it. So you need to go back. My point is to go back and look, write down the stuff, because I heard a while back, it's better to have a shorter pencil than a longer memory. And I honestly thought the guy was off his head. And then now I'm like, oh, get it now, because I wouldn't have remembered that. And I was going through my...
If your daughter didn't write it down, you wouldn't have remembered it. But you saw it in and you were like,
I'm sure I've seen that somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was right in front of me.
Did you celebrate your daughter?
I did.
Yeah.
But I was also looking through my journal in 2018. But 2018. It's when my mum passed away. So I was going through a really troubling time. It was before I designed my own journal.
Yeah.
And I've got this journal, and the other day I just sat on the back garden. I started reading through it, and I was just like, oh my God, I'd forgotten so much. And by the time I'd read quite a few entries, I was like, look at what you went through, and look how you powered through to then become a published author, to then become qualified coach, personal development, mental wellness mentor. Or look at all this. And that is by writing my stuff down, celebrating. So every now and again, go back, reflect, and celebrate. Absolutely. Every single day, celebrate, anything that you've done, where you've been, who you've seen. I can say, get out of bed sometimes, because some people don't get that opportunity.
Yep.
So, I just thought I'd share that little nugget, because it really did light me up the other day when I saw it. I'm like, I know I've seen this. I've probably heard him say it before, but I was like, I know. And then I just happened to glance and I went, oh my days, it's right in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
So I showed my daughter and she went, I can't believe you've saved that. Yeah, she can imagine, because obviously the drawings aren't great. But I was like, and the drawing's incredible now. But I'm like, yeah, but look at
it's the message. What matters is the message.
The message, but also look where you started and look where you are now. Because
I stick things by the door. Any important message, I stick it by the door. If I want my children to have that message, I stick it by the door. In that way, I know they will not ignore it. So, and their dad the other day goes, do you have to stick things by the door? I'm like, it's a reminder. Because if it's hidden or if it's in the diary, it's like I write a few lines. If I see that they're struggling with something, I just write a few lines. It will stay there for a year or 2 years. And then you will see that their behavior, how they are solving things, is based on the message that is by the door. Just a few words of encouragement. That I put, like what you're saying, like yesterday Dina was writing the bridge, and then day before, and then your daughter, you're like, she drew that. But that is amazing, Angie. It's really, really amazing, because it shows that everyone, they are unique. We all have our uniqueness in us, but we never really take time to acknowledge our life, to acknowledge our achievement, and to acknowledge actually the person that we have become. We always want more, but we never really stop. Like myself, I always pray and say, God, I'm grateful that I've made it. Some people have not made it to this day. And I would have lost my life a few years ago, or who knows, but I'm still here. So I'm like, I am so grateful. I'm really, really so grateful. So when things are not working well, basically, I'm like, I refuse to be dragged down by problems. I will solve what I can. And
to me, problems are there to teach you something.
Yeah.
They're not problems, they're learning experiences.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I've done. I've actually rewired that in my head. It's not a problem, it's a learning experience. And when we learn, we grow. I'm just mindful that Sonia asked if she could ask a question. But
I don't know. I did
Go on.
say ask a question, but this person, it looks like they've disappeared. Or do you want to type NG reply? Or maybe they wanted us to type. I don't know if they have an audio or something.
right, okay. I don't know how you reply to these messages on here, I'll be honest.
So I don't know.
Okay, darling, no worries. Just mindful that the question, they wanted to ask something and they didn't. So I weren't sure if they thought it was like a Facebook where you can invite them in so they can talk or ask a question. I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Maybe they wanted to come live.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe is it somebody, if it's somebody that maybe you want to reach out afterwards.
I don't know. They can reach out. If you want to reply, you press the here chat. What did she say? Yes.
Yeah, I haven't got.
Have you got chat there?
I can see the chat, but I can't add into it.
Really?
No, I can't type. I don't know. There's nowhere to type. Like with Zoom, you can just type in, but no, it won't let me do anything. I've got private chat. I can talk to you.
Okay, you have a private chat, and then there's another chat. Find another chat, because I know some speakers, they do.
See, I can see it on the right-hand side.
Yeah. How many chats do you have?
1, 2, 3.
I mean, a private chat, it allows you to chat private or public.
Right. No, I haven't got that on this. I haven't got a clue.
I don't know. When I do find, when someone else is on, I'll find out how they chat, because I know they normally send messages, reply to people, but I don't know on the other side how you like, anyway.
It's something for us to share, find out, I suppose.
Yeah,
so I've got
but
share screen, add a source, or settings.
Yeah, you can add a guest. If a guest wanted to come on, we can add them. But if they want to ask questions, they can ask questions. So I don't know, maybe this person is gone.
Yeah.
But if they're still listening, please, yes, you can ask questions. That's fine. Yeah, so we were talking about, back to the topic.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we're talking about how we don't celebrate our wins. We want to celebrate these bigger things. For me, basically, I've learned to celebrate these small things. It's like if I do something like Saturdays, I go choir, and then I finish. Sometimes when we perform, we seem to be performing every other week now. So when we are performing like the events, I always basically, when I finish, I always like have this gratitude that I'm here spending time with my friends. It's not work. I'm having fun, basically. Performing is just having fun. So I say it like I'm having fun with my friends, and I have to be grateful. And then I go home, I see my kids, they're doing things that they love, or I work, or I see clients, and I always have basically celebrate those small things, like being able to help clients. I don't know with your clients, my clients are hilarious. Honestly, like, can I also join live to talk?
Dad, I did wonder.
Okay. Would you like to message me private? Because before you come to live, we need to meet you as well. You can join us tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, you are allowed to join us. So if you message me, send me a message private on Facebook, Nomsa Clara. Send me a message private, and then we can communicate and have a chat. And yeah, that's fine. Yeah, feel free. It's fine. You can join us live to talk. Why not? And
I'm glad
it helps people find their own voice. Yes, you can join us. Send me a message private, and I promise I'll reply to you. Or you can send Angie a message, or me, whoever you want to send a message. We'll discuss it with you. Yes, I do have WhatsApp. but I can't give you my phone live. So I can if you send me a message private, and then I will send you a WhatsApp message, my phone number, then I add you on WhatsApp. That would be lovely. And that would be great. We love people that have courage to say, I want to speak.
Yes.
That's why we have the talk show, to help people speak, find their own voice. So if you have the courage, we are celebrating with you. So yes.
So that's for you today. Celebrate that, the fact that you actually had the courage to ask. Because
that is a big courage to ask.
Absolutely.
It's big. Some people, they're like, I don't want to intrude. I don't want to do this. So if you want to speak at
we welcome that.
Come
play.
Come and be with us. Yes, of course. So
fantastic.
That is a courage, actually.
It is massive amount of courage.
That is a courage to ask someone live, say, can I speak? You give inbox WhatsApp number. Yes, if you send me a message on Facebook on my messenger, then I will give you my WhatsApp number, then we can talk, or we can talk on Messenger. Either way, please. That would be lovely. So what is the time now, Angie? So
11 minutes left. Wow, that's gone fast today.
I know. That is really and if someone let's say, Angie, how have you been able to deal with hope after disappointments? Because I know sometimes we do celebrate our wins and stuff, but sometimes the disappointments do take over. So how do you bring hope into your life, and then so you can have faith, so you can have hope? For me, basically, I use the Bible to actually just read the Bible and claim the promises of God, that knowing that what I see now doesn't mean that is the truth. That I might see the disappointment, but there are some other things behind the scenes that I don't see. So I have to, instead of seeing the disappointment as a disappointment, I just have to see it as like something that I'm learning. What am I learning from this disappointment? And or if someone has let me down, I have to see that it was never, they're not having a good day. And that's why they're like, sometimes we may want to do something and people might say, oh no, you can't do it. And I see it as, if someone says I can't do something or they can't help me with something, instead of receiving it as a disappointment, I receive it as they don't see what I can do. They don't see my talent. So I'm just going to move on and keep asking. So that's how I'm able to move forward, have hope, have faith. Like she has faith, or he, for asking to say, okay, I'm going to ask you to speak at Ngozi talk shows. And we are saying yes. Because if we say we help people find their own voice and lead from within, that means that we have to give people opportunities, as long as they have the right image and right character, basically, of wanting to save people. So if you were, like, let's say, disappointments, how do you deal with them then?
Right. So what? I used to let disappointment derail me left, right, and centre, if I'm honest, because disappointment feels horrible. And we are managed by, what's the word I'm looking for? It's done it again. And these little words that just keep disappearing into ether. We run our lives on our feelings. How we feel affects how we act. How we act affects how we feel. The thoughts, all that sort of stuff. So, your thoughts affect how you feel. How you feel affects how you act. So I had to look at the word disappointment. But then I also had to go, right, okay, so it's a disappointment. Where's that come from? Why am I upset that this person has said this? Why am I upset that this person has done this? Actually, this person has said or done this. It says more about them than it does myself. So for me, disappointment now, I look at it and go, what am I learning? Same as what I said earlier. What am I learning? If we're not growing, we're dying.
Yeah.
So to me, life is about growth. Every single bit of life. A seed is planted and we nurture it and it grows into a tree or a flower or whatever the seed is. But we don't feed our own seed. So for me, the disappointment, I've changed it to growth. Okay, so what can I learn from this? How can I move this forward? Asking the right questions. What, where, when, why, how, who, that sort of stuff. You know, the open-ended questions. And I sit and I journal what is going off. So that's how I get rid of my disappointments. Life is going to be full of disappointments if we allow it to. But if we flip the disappointment on the other end, then it becomes knowledge. And when you've got knowledge, you can use the knowledge to move you forward, to help somebody else, or to help yourself. So for me, I just flip it like a coin, flip. So disappointment is a negative, flip it. I want the heads, thank you very much. I want a positive. And how am I going to use that to move me forward? Or my daughter, or anybody else that I work with. So I don't see disappointments like I used to. You know, like I say, I used to wear disappointment with a badge, a big shiny badge on my shoulder. I'm full of disappointment. And I was a disappointment to certain people in my life at the time. But then when it came about, you see, this disappointment that I was a disappointment to other people, as I say, I wore that as a badge of honor in the sense of to beat myself up with, to keep stabbing myself with the pin. You're disappointment, you are. You're a disappointment, you are. You're a Now I'm actually, no, I'm not a disappointment. I'm a disappointment to you, but I'm not a disappointment to myself. And that is the most important. Do not be disappointed in you, because you've done everything you can. You know, if you can go to bed at night and say, right, well, I've done this. You can pick 5 things out that you've done to move you forward. Like I said, one of them could be brushing your teeth. One of them could be, I don't know, washing the pots. You've still done something, so then you can celebrate every single day. Let go of the disappointments, because all they do, like I said earlier about the mountain analogy, those disappointments are those great big chuffing rocks that you stick in your backpack. You're never going to get to the mountain if you keep them.
Yeah.
Get a hammer out, smash them up, and just go, let it go. Turn it into dust. Let it go. Thank you for the lesson. I'm off. And keep going.
And sometimes, you know, what I've noticed as well with the disappointments, they come. Sometimes it's a way, I don't know what you believe. Do you believe in God or do you believe in the universe? Some people believe in
I believe in the universe.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I believe in, there's a higher power, but what I believe in is me.
Yeah.
Whereas
something
else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. I believe in me, but at the same time, I believe in God. And I believe that sometimes the disappointment comes because there's something big. I remember when we were looking for the house and we couldn't find it, we got let down the last minute and we had to take everything to the storage and stuff. And I remember I'm disappointed basically, but I'm refusing to be disappointed. In my mind, I'm focusing. I'm really trying to focus. And my brother calls me. He's distracting me on the phone. And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? And I was basically about to go and do shopping for my furniture for broadcasting. I had sent things away by mistake. Then I realized actually I need a chair to broadcast, and I'm busy. And then I'm refusing to be distracted. And then I leave the house, and then I come back. Then I'm like, I saw something. What's this distraction? So I'm like, normally the distraction is something like to distract me. This looks like a distraction, like something. So instead of looking for the chairs, I'm looking for the chairs. And I was like, okay, let me go out. So I go out. I see this person put a new leather chair outside. Help yourself. So I was like, this is the chair that I need. This is the chair that would have cost me loads of money. So I just looked.
Thank you.
Honestly, I just looked and I was like, so the distraction is basically, all this distraction has been for me not to see this chair, because this chair has been here ever since. Yeah. And where I received the phone call, it was where the chair was. And I just went and I was like, I need this chair. And the chair was so big. I basically was outside my house. I just lifted the chair and when I lifted the chair, took it to the house, and I was like, "How did I get this thing into the house?" And I was like, "I'm not buying any chair. This is just perfect for me for
Yeah.
temporal." And sometimes, some distractions, some disappointment they come as a distractions, and then sometimes some disappointment they can come. It's like you miss the flight. I read the story of the guy that missed the flight, and then he got mad, and then after the flight he crashed. He crashed, and he was like actually being late. He was like, saving me, saved my life. I
Yeah.
saved my life by being late, and then he saw in the news that the flight that he was meant to take, he had a crash. So sometimes some disappointment, we may see them as a disappointment, but they are actually not disappointment.
No, they're
Uh,
learning.
yeah, we have to learn. We have to learn from them. And any words of encouragements before we leave?
No, well, just going on what we've just said today. Make sure you celebrate those small daily wins. And I don't just mean sit down, think about the good stuff and go, oh, great. I mean, write them down. Write them down. Keep the notes of what you're proud of every single day. And you watch how quick those small daily steps compound into the results that you want.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for me, basically,
you.
is don't ignore if you feel disappointed, you feel fear. Don't ignore it. The emotions, acknowledge your emotions and tell them, speak to them. Be grateful. Say emotions. I'm grateful that you're showing me that I'm disappointed, but at this moment, I would love to go on. I'm not gonna ignore you. And just if there is something that you need to keep going and keep moving, just keep going and keep moving, and you will be able to achieve the things that you want. I've gone through disappointments in my life. Gossip Talk Shows was never on Gossip Talk Shows. It started as a Legacy Wealth Talk. And after Legacy Wealth Talk, we turned up like it was the four of us turned up as each and every day like we do. And my friend was like, I'm kicking you out. So I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But for me, it was a disappointment. I got disappointed because we had built the talk show for a year. It was growing, and then and I was like, okay, you're kicking me out, and I was like, I think I appreciate whatever the words kicking me out, but I think we have
Same ringtone as me.
So I was like, it was a disappointment, but I didn't actually, I felt disappointed. But at that moment, I remember picking the phone to my business coach, because with my business coach, basically, I pay for everything where he runs the company and everything. So, and then I was like, this is what has happened in talk show, the Legacy Wealth Talk. And I was like Googling, and Ngosi is actually my legal name. And Nomsa is my second name. Yeah, my maiden name. And like Facebook suggested Ngosi like my first name, and it was the domain available. And then I look at the domain names, and Ngosi, they all kept suggesting Ngosi Talk Shows. I was like, maybe things happens for a reason. Ngosi
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I was like, Ngosi is my legal name, so I might as well take Ngosi Talk Shows and just create it. And I basically sent it to my coach, and the following day, his secretary had changed everything, designed the YouTube channel, and she had designed everything. And I was like, everything just happens for a reason. And the speakers, everyone that is here at Ngosi Talk Show, they all stood by me as well. So
wow.
It just, for me, basically, it was a shock when someone is shocked. So, and I was like, is this a shock? And I was like, I have people that comes in at 1 o'clock and they watch the talk show. I cannot let them down, and I cannot let myself down, because I love doing this. So I was like, instead of feeling sorry for myself, and I was like, to my business coach, please to do the designs. And it was like the following day I woke up, I sent him the pictures, the instructions. The following day I woke up, the talk show was Ngosi Talk Shows. I had to apologize to the audience. So those were the disappointments that big ones that I had to go through in life. It was big for me because, you know.
And you've overcome it. And now look what you've done.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And we didn't have YouTube channel at the time. So
Wow.
yeah, so I had to be like, and I was like, I need a YouTube channel. So I had to download all the videos to YouTube to create a YouTube channel. And we are still going. What matters is just, it's just
never quit.
Yeah, don't quit. Whatever
Don't
happens.
quit on you.
Yeah, you are going to be disappointed by people in life, but don't look at it as a disappointment. It's a blessing. For me, it's been a blessing because when somebody says, hi, what does Ngosi mean? I'm like, it means this. And at the same time, it is my legal name. But those who goes and look at my company, they don't ask me. They're like, Ngosi Talk Shows is your name as well. I'm like, yeah, it is my name. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, we are here at Ngosi Talk Shows, everyone, Monday to Friday, UK time. And please follow Angie on social media. If you want to get in touch with Angie, please do. Please do. My daughter is disturbing me. Please do and get in touch with us. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless.